What's up, guys? This is fresh $10,000 from the bank, and I made 3 times this $33,000 using simple price action, no fancy indicator, no robot, no nothing, just pure price action. On this video, I'm going to show you guys all the steps I took, plus the trades and all the proofs on how you can be able to do it on your own side. Price action works. You don't need to complicate your trading. So long as a system can give you an edge over the market, you are free to use that system to make a lot of money from the forex market. You don't need to complicate. You don't need to have an indicator telling you the market is buying, another one telling you the market is selling. You don't. Keep it simply stupid. So come with me on this video on this full breakdown of the particular trade I took, and also on how you can be able to trade support and resistance in 2025 profitably. I don't want to take much of your time. Come with me on my screen, and I'm just going to share a trading view just to show you guys how I took this trade and exactly how you can be able to do it on your side. Point number one, let's just start with what is support and resistance. So support and resistance are not just lines drawn on your chart, but these are actually psychological levels where demand and supply, where buyers and sellers tend to react. They actually represent where money interact. They actually represent psychological levels in the market. So understanding what support and resistance is very important, and also understanding how to draw them is very paramount in trading. So I guess you've known what is support and resistance by now. Good. So in this case, we need a new profile, which we're going to remove. Let's just come here and we're just going to unhide any indicator on the screen, and then I'm going to show you guys the same trade I took, which gave me almost about $33,000. It was actually 3 pairs. It was actually 3 pairs that mounted up to $33,000. But I'm just going to take 1 pair here, and I'll do a breakdown and also on how you can be able to trade support and resistance. Trading support and resistance just starts by you identifying key levels in the market where the market tends to have many rejections or many turns. All right. And you also have to understand something when drawing support and resistance, which is very, very key. Key point: treat support and resistance as zones, not just lines. Treat support and resistance as zones, not just lines. What do I mean? If I come here, the best way to draw my support and resistance here is I would have seen this market. I can just start somewhere here. Remember, I just made it as plain as it was so that we can be able to trade. I can just have this trend line from here to here. Can you see this? So that will be one trend line I'm going to have, but I'm going to actually show you the one I use to trade that support and resistance, which gave me almost about $33,000 in many pairs. I can still have another trend line from here, and remember, I'm using the wicks of the candle. All right, I'm using the wicks of the candle, and I'm using the higher time frame. Good. Then the one I actually traded, which was a set trade last week, was this one right here. So I'm actually using the wicks of the candle. You can notice I'm using the wicks of the candle, and like I said, you need to treat it as a zone, not just as a line. Meaning, if I'm drawing my resistance, my upper resistance line from here to here, I'm treating the whole of this area as a zone. Meaning price has the ability to come inside here and still have a turn without me saying, oh, it has already crossed my support line, it has already crossed. So I'm treating all of them as a zone. So I'm just going to repeat these lines. I'm treating all of these lines as zones, not just all of these areas as zones, not just lines. Treat them as zones, because if you are treating them as lines, you will tend to have a lot of fake outs in the market. You treat them as zones. So these are my key zones right here. There was another one I had which was running from here to here, and I still have to treat this one as a zone. I still have to trade it, and this is very self-explanatory because this is where traders have tend to take decisions repeatedly, and you can see it on your chart. You can see that's clear. That's everything I've been using to trade, and I can already see what I'm going to be trading at the end, at the open of the market without even using any indicator. So what I did was simple. I've been seeing the market on this uptrend, been trading for this up to this was the whole of last week on the 1 hour time frame. I was trading, and when the market got to where the market got toward to my upper trend line, which is also my resistance level, what I did was simple. I merely started watching the behavior of price. You can see the market, instead of forming a higher high after this, it instead forms a higher low, and it didn't break. So the price didn't break this area right here. So long as price didn't break the recent higher highs, that was an indication of a reversal. So at the cross of this candle, this was where I took a trade. All right, and I remember that was only after that I started confirming another trend forming. So I took my third trade because I could see clearly that this is clearly a reversal sign. So number one, price action gave me an indication that the price has already changed. So that's why you can see here, this is a clear price action showing me everything has changed. Number two, if you have to look at this particular chart, you can see clearly that it also formed with what we call an M pattern or a double top. Remember, an M pattern is just like this. M is just pam, pam, pam. You have a top here, you have another top right here. So the same similar pattern was formed here, still indicating what? A reversal in the market. So I took my trade here. My stop loss on this one, this was the trade I took. This was the third trade I took. And I shared all of these. Please make sure you're following me on Instagram, because all these trades were shared on Instagram and also on my Telegram community. So this one, ideally, you guys know I always go for 1:2 risks to reward on 80% of all my trades. So that was it. That was a simple trade. A risk to reward of 1:2. You can see that was risk to reward 1:2. I was just risking 18 pips to go for, I think, 38 pips or 37 pips. That's it. I was already out of that trade. Once I was already out of the trade, I started watching price action. I had a turn here. Immediately I had a turn here. I then I then linked on this particular week, this one, and this one. Voila. It forms now another trend. It forms now another resistance level, or it forms another support zone. All right. So I just plotted that one, and I was like, okay, since this trend is a downtrend, I'm not going to be taking. There's something you need to notice. If you're trading support and resistance, and it's giving you an upper trend, I want you to only look for buy trades. If you are trading support and resistance and it's giving you a downtrend, I want you to only look for sell trades. All right, don't try to catch a falling knife. Don't try to swim against the current or against the waters. It's as simple as that. That's why once I already confirmed that this market was in a downtrend, I was waiting for another sell setup. I'm not looking for a buy opportunity. I'm looking for another sell setup. And you can see, boom, we came up here and we tested this area again. And I took my sell. I think I took a sell somewhere here. This was where I took a sell on this trade, short trade. I took a sell somewhere here. Immediately I had this sell signal here, and I was just risking about 25 pips on this trade. Let's see. My stop loss was around 20 pips. I was risking about 20 pips. I'm going for a risk to reward of 1:2. Boom. I was already out of the trade. So these two trades alone already gave me about, I think, $14,000 to $16,000, because I was trading on my $200,000 funded account with FTMO, and these two trades already gave me about $16,000 because I was just risking $4,000 to go for $8,000. I do that on a setup that I'm super confident, so I can risk up to 2%. 4,000 on $200,000 is 2% of my account. So I was just risking 4,000 to go for $8,000, and this was already clean $16,000. You can see the market went down and hit my take profit right here. Again, look at what happened. It came again in this particular zone. If you are treating this as a line, immediately the price came here. It already said, oh, the price has already broken my support. Let me jump in on a sell. Then what happened? If you say that and you jump in on a sell here, what happened? You can see this rejection candle, and then the bullish engulfing, almost the engulfing candle. So treat support and resistance as a zone, not as a line. Then this was a trade I took on Friday, and as you speak, I'm actually going to check my FTMO account to show you guys the screenshot. I'm actually still on a sell on this particular one. So as it came right up here, and I saw this candle, this rejection, this pin bar, it's almost like a pin bar. They call it a pin bar or a rejection candle right here. It has to form around or on the zone. All right, if you're trading as a line, you will say, okay, I need to wait for it to go across the line. No, it needs to form around your zone for you to confirm. So immediately I saw this rejection candle or this spin bar, I got in again on the sell. So wish me luck on this one, because this trade is still open. This trade is still open as we move into the weekend. I was still risking again about 25 pips on this one, and I'm going for a risk to reward of 1:2, meaning this is my take profit on this one, 50 pips. So I'm still very, very positive on this particular trade for the market to drop at the open of the market for me to get to my take profit level. So you see, I just used one example and I've shown you guys the same trade I took and even what I'm going to be doing opening of the market next week. It's as clear as this. Support and resistance, I'm not using any fancy tools, I'm not using any indicator. I'm not saying indicators are not good. I'm saying there are some strategies you can still make money with that strategy or with those strategies without the use of any indicator. Like this simple price action strategy, you're just trading what you see, not what you think the market is going to show you. You're just trading what you see, not what you want the market to show you. Pure price action, no indicators. Let's go on gold and I'll show you guys what I did on gold. I'm just going to delete all these tools. You can see my price action tools are even still there. So another thing you can still do if you are trading price action is to see if you can use points of confluences. This was a price action that killed many traders. Many traders, I remember it's still in my brain because I traded this pattern for too long. So the market just kept respecting this trend right here. This one right here. Treat it as a zone. Again, treat it as a zone. Look at this. Treat it as a zone, not just as a line. Treat it as a zone, not just as a line. So this zone right here, I think I would have even looked for channels, like a channel and drew a channel, but it's fine. I'm just going to use this so that we don't complicate. So treat it as a zone, not just as a line. Treat it as a zone, not just as a line. So I'm just going to extrapolate so that you guys can see the same trades I took on this particular one. This was my lower trend line, still again, botching right down there. And remember, I'm using the wicks of the candle. Use the wicks of the candle because those were the highest levels the price action could test. All right, you use the wicks of the candle. So if I can go right down there, I can see it right here. Good. So this was the channel I just kept the market so long as I already had a confirmation, because if you can see right here, this market was in a clear uptrend, was forming higher lows, higher heights, higher lows, higher heights, higher lows, higher heights, higher lows, higher heights, and then boom, this level was broken. We didn't have another higher height. So long as you are having higher lows plus higher heights, and then that structure got broken, and you can't have again higher lows plus higher heights, that's a confirmation of a downtrend. Just using price action or price structure, that's a confirmation of a downtrend. So you can see we had our higher lows, higher highs, and another this higher low was broken, confirming a break of structure. A break of structure and coming down to retest. A break, and simple, they just call it in trading break and retest. So this higher lows was broken somewhere here, and then it comes back, retested it. My first trade was after the retest of this candle right here. So I went in on this retest, break and retest, went in on a sell somewhere here. My stop loss on this trade was somewhere up here, and I was going for a risk to reward of 1:2. Boom, somewhere there. I was already out of this trade. Immediately I was out of the trade. Remember, I've already confirmed that this market is on a sell trend. This happened right down here where we had this cross somewhere here. We had this cross and the market pushing back to this. So I took another sell trade right here. This was a setup where I took many sell trades. I took another sell trade here. Stop loss was just here, and I was going for a risk to reward of 1:2. Boom, that is it. Risk to reward of 1:2. And you can see this one went right down, didn't hit my TP because it got here, and then retraced right back in entry, and then came back, hit my TP right here. Good. So I was already out of that trade, and then my next trade was only taken somewhere here at the open of the market. I remember I came here on Sunday and I did a video where I told you guys where the market was going to be opening because there was the war with USA and Iran. So this was where Donald Trump bombed Iran, right here. You can see the gap is right there. You can still see very, very clearly. So this gap you are seeing, no price action. This was where the bumping happened, and it was on a Saturday or a Sunday, and I did a video that Sunday. I'm going to leave the screenshot of the video up there, telling you guys what I'm expecting to happen at the open of the market, and exactly the same thing happened. So the market opened right there, and this one alone I made almost about $16,000 because I was very, very confident on number one, the trend has been a set trend, and number two, I needed this gap to fill. It's called gap trading. So immediately the market opened, boom, I came here on a set trade. This was my set trade right there. I was just risking about 100 pips on this particular one, and I just kept trailing my stop, and I got out on this one on a risk to reward of 1:2, and boom, you can see I was very, very safe on this trade, and that is it. If I can go right here, I got out even before this trend resumed and started going up. That was clean $16,000 I made on that particular trade. That's what they call an A+ setups, where you can even risk more than 1%. You can risk more than 2% because you are very, very confident. You've seen setups like that over and over. Particularly when it comes to gap trading. I've seen gaps in the market over and over and using it. Remember now, I'm using 2 points of confluences. I'm using my trend line, I'm using support and resistance, and I'm still using the idea of gap trading. That is what gave me the $16,000 on this particular trade. By the time I took a screenshot, it was on $10,000, but I trade in again, added more positions, and boom, that is it. So this is simple with price action, simple with support and resistance. It's still working. Support and resistance is still working in 2025. Comment on this video SRO Master if you want me to do a more breakdown on more trades I took using just support and resistance. And if you are looking for more videos on support and resistance, I did a detailed video almost about 30 minutes showing you guys again how to trade support and resistance like a pro. The key thing you need to have in your mind is to treat support and resistance as a zone, not just as a line. And if you want me to mentor you one-on-one, check out Golov University. If you want to use one of the most viral Forex robots out there, which is Patrex Pro, has received awards of the best Forex robot 3 years in a row, then check out Patrex Pro, link on the video description. You need to be in my Telegram community. Join my Telegram community where you're going to get updates from me. So check the link check the link on the video description so that you can also join my Telegram community. Check out this video, which was the video I made about support and resistance almost about 2 years ago. Also check out this playlist, which I have prepared for you guys to make you profitable. And I'll see you guys on these other videos. Peace.